everybody to the LDA Podcast. If you are here and can hear us, let us know you can hear us. Sound good? Can you hear us?
Hear me good?
I shouldn't be licking that cat ass before we get started no more.
Told you about that, Daniel.
Yep.
I know it, man. I can't help it. What can I say?
So if you could just let us know if you could hear us, that would be great. Make sure all our stuff is working on our end. Yay.
This is our first take, so
Perfect. If we get this right on a first try, Jesus Christ, imagine what we could do on a second.
I know, right?
Well,
all right,
everybody,
that's a good omen.
Everybody, welcome. This is the LDA Podcast. We are typically loud, drunk, and obnoxious assholes. So
Not going to show you my asshole. We hadn't had enough drinks.
We will not do that. We've had discussions about what we cannot do, and that's one of them. So we will avoid that altogether. All right. So I'm Kenny. This is Shannon over here. And down below is Wrath from Wrath, your channel. The Swolemates. That's right. Oh my God.
Used to be the Not So Newlyweds. Swolemates, yeah.
See how long I've been around?
Motherfucker been hanging around us for how long, and you don't know that?
I don't know, dude, but I might need a shot for that. I don't know, man.
I think you are too. I got my shit fogged up. It's a little warm up in here.
How the hell you open these little airline bottles? Do I need a shotgun?
Dude, oh, never mind.
I got a little screwball over here.
All right. And in honor of the first LDA podcast, and guys, y'all gonna have to bear with us. We don't even have we didn't even do a check. This is a fly by the seat of our fucking pants.
Exactly.
It'll get better each time as we figure this out. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Welcome to the LDA, because we got to get drunk to be the L and D part of the asshole. Otherwise, we're just assholes.
I can be loud, but it helps to be drunk.
And I'm not usually just an asshole.
Well, wait a minute. Wait. There's two of us here. We have to discuss this. Do you concur?
Concur.
Okay. Sure. All right. You pass this time. So, but we know some assholes. Trust us. We can get them in here if you want.
Oh yeah, we know some assholes.
No shit. Yep.
But just so you guys know, this is a collaboration of just a bunch of guys getting together who have other stuff going on in YouTube and other stuff going on in life, and decided why not just sit down and do what we do in our Discord, which is we sit there all day and just talk about crap that's going on, and we thought why not just do it over here and give people a chance to come check us out. Give us topics and ideas and things like that. But you have to understand, you guys, we're all old guys, and the majority of the stuff that we have in common is we can't believe that 2023 is actually like this crap. And we're all ready for the NFL draft.
Yes, we are.
Which is currently going on. So who's the big winner so far in this draft for you guys?
Man, well, you see, I'm representing. I'm a football fan.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a lot of our viewers on my channel in particular. I think you have the same thing, Kenny, of conservative views, and a lot of people are anti-NFL. Like, look, man, I'm not going to let that bullshit ruin it for me. I'm just not. I'm going to support this team till I die. I bleed it. Yeah, so even if I don't support or watch anything else in the NFL, I'm going to support this team, and there's a reason for that, and I'm just simply not going to let them ruin it for me. However, I did not think, for me personally, this was kind of a thin draft. I believe so. For me, I'm very happy with what we took in the first round. I can't say is that I personally think anybody in the first round so far has just won the lottery. Those of you that talked to me earlier, I believe that there's going to be a lot of low round and undrafted players shine through next season and the next season out of this draft, more so than the players in the draft itself. So I don't know that for me, I don't think anybody's necessarily won the lottery yet. As far as, I mean, now there's going to be some people going the second round, which I'm sitting here all saying it out, and I still don't know much about the guy we just took in the second round. But I don't know. Are you happy with who you got, Kenny? I mean, who'd y'all take?
We've taken we've gone defense to start, which is a great thing. You know, I'll bring up. I'm going to touch on what you said real quick. You know, the whole politics behind what went on with players at the NFL and stuff. I avoided that like the plague. Like it wasn't none of my business. It's, you know, it is
Right.
what it is. And my team, the Cowboys, you know, kind of just didn't do it. You know, it's kind of just,
Right.
you know, for the most part, they just wanted to play football.
Right.
And
And a lot of, you know, funny enough, you know what put a stop to it? They can say what they want. It wasn't pressure from conservatives. It wasn't pressure from anyone.
mhm.
It was other people in that locker room. Because see, the guys that were making all these statements and calls and all this shit, they didn't care that the league was losing money. They were getting their big money.
Right.
We're
Absolutely.
talking all the middle rung to lower players that are the actual blue collar of the NFL that show up and work and everything. They're like, look, bro, you're digging into everybody's money. You keep doing this and the league loses money. You made 40 mil last year. That don't hurt you.
Yep.
I might make $1.5 million this year. Maybe.
That's really going to
It
hurt.
was the other guys
Yeah.
in the locker room more than anyone stepped up and said, look, man, league's losing money. They lose money. We lose money. That'll hurt you as much as it hurts me. So it was the blue collar, spinal, hard work, show up with the lunch pail every day NFL players that
to be honest, I don't think most people know how many, you know, NFL minimum players there are.
Right.
There's a lot of them
Right.
that don't get the big paydays. They still show up to all the
No.
practices. They still get beat up just the same. They do all of that. And
those motherfuckers wound up having like 14 and 15, 16-year careers.
Yep.
And nobody knows who the fuck they are.
So Shannon,
you know,
Shannon, do you think this draft has any like big flashy player to it? There's been other drafts where everybody knew on the first round it all came down to bartering between 1 and 2, right? Because there was that player that was so significant, you know, everybody was chomping on the bit, you know. And so do you think there was any players like that this year that were splashy like that?
Well, I was watching the draft yesterday, and they were real excited about where Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud was going to go.
Uh-huh.
And of course, Panthers got Young from Alabama, and Stroud went to or from the Buckeyes to the Texans. So that's the most talk I've heard about was about them two.
Right. Those were the two big guys. Yeah, I have to agree with Shannon.
Yeah.
Those were coming in pre-draft. They weren't particularly on my radar because my team wasn't particularly looking for a first-round quarterback.
Mhm.
But a lot of those names were mentioned, and Herndon Hooker. I was the shock for me out of the draft is that Levis fell out of the first round.
And
Yeah.
that was surprising too, you know. Our team didn't have a pick anytime in the beginning, so you know we weren't getting any flashy players whatsoever.
Right.
I think it makes sense for us to cinch up some stuff on the D line. I also think that it wouldn't hurt us at all to maybe get some more backups for like safety position.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those DBs, you know, those DBs back there. We've got some good ones, but man, you know, we've also gotten eaten up pretty bad.
Right.
So I think we could use some strength there on the offense. You know, I mentioned it earlier to someone, but you know, there's this thing that supposedly Dak Prescott's, you know, kind of telling Cowboys they might want to look at Zeke since they released him to get him at a lower rate. I don't know if they could do that and how beneficial that would be because they just released him. So like think of how much salary cap room they've got. They could actually
Hold on though. And here's a brilliant move, though, that Jerry can make. If I'm Jerry Jones, who Jerry has a tendency, and you know this as a Cowboys fan, he has held y'all back just because he can't get his hands out of the pot.
Dude,
however, he controls the money, and here's what in Zeke, because he knows the system. Here's the thing. After Zeke, we discussed this earlier. Zeke has not lived up since he signed that big deal. Here's what I do. We just did it with Michael Thomas, and Michael Thomas was a record-setting receiver before this little injury bug started. We just gave him a deal that doesn't look great, very incentive-based. Show us you're worth that next big money, brother. I would take Ezekiel Elliott back if I'm the Cowboys because he knows the system. If you're looking for a veteran back, nobody you get's going to be better than him necessarily. No. I still think Pollard's the better back. But you take him at the prove it deal. We're going to give you X amount of dollars this year. That's all you're getting unless you hit these plateaus. You want to show us you're still the fucking man? Show us you're still the fucking man. That's the deal I give him. And then if I'm Zeke, I man up and bring my lunch pail this year. That's what I do.
I agree.
Yep. We have an interesting situation where I don't know that we have a significant veteran player on our team that can push us through the playoffs. You have to have
defense.
Yeah, we got defense.
You got one on defense, and it's
one
not
on defense. We don't have an offensive veteran. You know how it is. Okay, you take an old player who has won a Super Bowl, right? And take them into a team and get them into the playoffs and watch how that old player who won the Super Bowl can direct and motivate that team, right? I think we get into the playoffs and we're just like, either we got this or we're scared out of our mind because either way it looks horrible. Right. Like, so we got to do something different. And I cannot yet discount the lack of veteran leadership because you watch the old teams when there was a changing of the guard, right? Whether it was Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers, whether it was, whoever it was, there was always that changing of the guard, but that veteran leader was still there. And so I just don't know that our offense has that.
Funny enough, your defense, there's a dude, and his name didn't get mentioned a lot this year, and it's a shame because it's his play that led to a lot of the stats from other players.
Mm-hmm.
But y'all got a guy that I wish we'd have gotten along. His name is Van Der Esch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah, he's
that bad. Dude is a stud. His name didn't get plastered. You didn't hear about him a lot this year like you normally do, but the thing was, it was his play that allowed some of y'all's other guys to tee off. He's one of those guys. He's at that age now. This is like his, fifth year?
Yep.
Yeah.
On that defensive side of the ball, especially with some of the guys y'all lost, I would look for him to be one of my vocal leaders. Now, on offense, you want that guy to be Dak. But Kenny, let's be real.
He's not that guy.
He's not that guy.
He's not.
He's a great competitor, and he's a mid-tier quarterback.
Yep.
Yeah.
But the guy that actually inspires that kind of charisma out of his teammates that makes them up their game. I mean, you look at a Drew Brees or a Tom Brady that made nobody's superstars in the Super Bowl. Dak doesn't have the greats elevate everyone around.
All right, so
I'm
gonna change teams here for a second. If the greats can motivate everyone, does Aaron Rodgers going to the Jets finally make them a believable playoff team and a believable Super Bowl challenge?
I'm gonna let Shannon field that one first because I can talk about Aaron Rodgers for a minute.
Yep. I don't think so. I don't think so personally. I don't. Because I mean, he can't carry the whole team by himself, and the Jets just aren't that good. So
the Jets have had significant problems, and I hate to say it, but I'm gonna go to the top where it counts because between management and GM and coaching, I have seen a lot of players that went to the Jets who should have been super talented and never ever got there. And I want it bears asking why.
Browns.
Yeah. Same thing with the Browns. Same thing with the Browns.
Detroit.
Yep. Detroit too. I mean, dude, there's been so many of these franchises that had players where I know for a fact if this player had been brought up under the tutelage of somebody else, they would have been a phenomenal player.
Dude, I can think of hundreds of players that way. But I want to answer the same question you posed, Shannon, too.
Uh-huh.
I agree with you 100%, Shannon. No, I don't think it does. I'm going to say this. With Aaron Rodgers' talent, it should.
Right.
However, Aaron Rodgers can't let anything get in the way of Aaron Rodgers. And
Yeah.
I'll tell you what said more to me about Aaron Rodgers before he ever took a snap in the NFL. The year he was drafted, he thought he was going number 1 to the 49ers. Or whatever, number 3, whatever it was. He thought he was going to the 49ers. And dude hit the stage. And so with like the third pick or whatever it was, San Francisco 49ers select, Aaron got up.
Yep.
Buttoned his suit. Started strolling to the stage. And they said, Alex Smith.
Yep.
And Aaron was just
devastated.
Aaron Rodgers, if he could have gotten over Aaron Rodgers, his era of the Packers could tote about 6 Super Bowls.
Yep.
He always bitched about not having receivers, not having this. Look, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, out of all who you call the greats, you got guys like Brees made undrafted guys stars the year we went to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Brady never had, do you remember how big a deal it was when they got Moss? They finally given Brady a fucking weapon.
And it was horrible.
Some of the greatest quarterbacks ever.
It was horrible.
Because that's the same excuse they make for Lamar Jackson. Well, he didn't have nobody to throw to. Look, he's had better than some years that the fucking Patriots went to the Super Bowl. He had better than the year the Saints went to the Super Bowl. Great quarterbacks rise above and they elevate the game of those around them. And certain quarterbacks just can't do that. And I hate it for you. I don't think Dak is that guy. And I don't think Aaron's going to be that guy because Aaron can't get over that.
I don't believe.
So I think the Jets are
believe
a 9-win team.
As a Cowboys lifelong fan, you guys know how long I've been a fan. I mean, my first game that I saw, Roger Staubach was quarterback. Okay,
me too.
And so
glory days, man.
And so I've stuck with them through. I stuck with the Cowboys through the Quincy Carter years, dude. I lost $8,000 in 1 year because every time they bet me that the Cowboys couldn't do it, I was like, I'll put it on anyway. I lost so much money because of Quincy Carter, dude, and I stuck with the Cowboys through thick and thin. But
I don't want to hear shit.
But
dude.
I will tell you,
y'all didn't wear bags on y'all.
I will tell you that
y'all didn't wear bags.
I will. Oh, dude, they should have with Quincy Carter. I will tell you this: as a lifelong Cowboys fan, Dak Prescott is not it.
No, he's not.
He is a good quarterback, but we don't have the pieces to eliminate to cover up for his deficits. Right. You know what I mean?
And so far, his problem has been the big lights.
His problem has
been the big lights.
His problem is big. When it comes down to it, he can't make the game-winning play.
Yeah.
Right.
And when you have our defense was not nearly as good this last year as it's been in previous years, and yet we made it further into the playoffs than we had in previous years, right? But our defense wasn't good enough to be able to deal with the fact that he has. Let's face it over. We turn it over, whether it's on punting it back to him or on downs or whatever it is. We give the ball back to them too much, and our defense can't stand out on the field for that much time.
And I'm gonna tell you something, and this is gonna be unpopular in Dallas.
Uh-huh.
I'm not look. I actually belong to a page that's pure shit talking between Dallas fans and Saints fans. Being a Saints fan myself, but I recognize certain things with all teams, whether they're my favorites or not. And the thing y'all need, if I'm y'all, dude, this is what I do. If Deke won't take a cheapo deal, I take Diggs, and I trade him to somebody for a young, hungry running back. And the draft is full of some good corners, and that's where the draft is strong this year. And I'm gonna tell you why. If Diggs gets all this clout for y'all, and he does make splash plays enough to make highlight reels, but 90% of the time that brother's getting burnt.
Well, and the other thing,
he's overrated for y'all. I would take that dude and give me something else.
When you have a suspect quarterback or a suspect offense, right, because of said issues, whether it's running, whether it's receiving, whether it's the quarterback's issue, whatever it is, pass protection, breakdown, guys getting hammered all the time, whatever it is, right? I don't think the Cowboys right now have a defense strong enough to cover what their offense lacks. And the only way to fix that with the defense, honestly, is if you look at other teams where the offense couldn't score a lot. Let's just say the Ravens. Okay.
Let's just say.
Okay. But they had DBs.
Yeah.
They had serious linebackers, and they had their defense was so stout that it didn't matter if their offense couldn't score that much because you were going to they were going to get a turnover a game, and they're going to stop you most of the time. And we don't have a defense built like that. Is there that material in the draft? It'd be great to see if there is, but then we also have free agency coming up, so we'll see who's where.
Right.
So
I think funny enough, there was some big fucking contract signed this offseason.
Yeah.
There are going to be some people moving after the draft because teams simply got to cut some fucking cap space.
Dude,
there's going to be some players out
there. Can I
there.
just be the one who says it on camera that the whole Lamar, dude, that contract is stupid.
Yeah, it is.
5 years, 200. Get out of here, bro. You ain't earned your money. You ain't earned your money. Now go out.
Who you talking about, Lamar?
Yes.
Lamar.
Yes.
Look, let me tell you something. The problem with Lamar is, again, and y'all know my thoughts, and I will break it down.
I don't have a glass, so I hope
the science
YouTube
of football
doesn't violate me
and
for
explain to you why running quarterbacks, as much as we've heard, they're the future of the NFL for the past 25 years.
No.
It's not going to happen. Here's the problem. Lamar is one of the most pure running quarterbacks that's ever been. I'll give him that. However, he's on bad knees now, and he's done shown, I've said it earlier, when a defense figures out, it's not that running quarterbacks can't make throws. They're used to making those on the run as well, in a bootleg, sweep, something. You turn a running quarterback into a 3-step, 5-step drop back passer, it's over with. And it's not because they don't possess the arm talent. It fucks with their timing. They're used to moving. They're used to getting out of the pocket, rolling out, and delivering. They're not used to just taking 3 steps and putting the ball on a fucking rope. Lamar suffers that, and he's now and I don't think that's ever going to be that's never going to be a viable part of his game. So he's going to have them legs, and now he's on 2 bad knees. That's a lot to pay a guy. That's a lot to pay a guy that is going to have to remain committed to running the football on 2 bad knees.
Yeah,
that's a lot. I mean, and I hate that. But injuries are the nature of the game, dude. If you can't give me $200 million worth of play, I can't pay you that.
Right.
Exactly.
It's that simple.
And can I just,
it's that fucking
can
simple.
I just ask, have we gotten to a point where, as a fan, we have to start questioning the ridiculous salaries? Because they're demanding ridiculous salaries and charging us as fans ridiculous amounts to get into a game, ridiculous amounts to view the games on whether it's NFL Sunday Ticket or whatever. And these players are getting hit less than they were 10 years ago.
Right. Which is why they got the big money. Which is why the big money started.
They got the big money because they were at risk, and now they're now.
And dude, every player now, especially every star player, wants to be the highest paid ever or the highest paid at that position ever. And here's the thing: they don't understand that trickles down to the fans. It is hard. It's hard as a fan to see a guy get paid that much money and then complain about anything. And then the argument is always, well, the owners are making this. Motherfucker, let me tell you something. If I'm making $40 fucking million a year, I don't give a fuck what my boss is making. Dude, what a fucking first world problem. You're making $40 million a year to play a children's game that everybody in the fucking world wishes they could do for a living, and you're bitching about. Don't you know them fuckers has got to make that money to pay you that money?
And now
and the problem with this big money contracts, dude. The Browns are fixing to find out. At least Jalen Hurts agreed to structure his contract where it didn't hit their salary cap so much. The Browns have got this season with that roster, make or break, baby. Because after that, everybody else that counts against that fucking salary cap's got to go. So it's going to be Deshaun Watson and Deshaun Watson. And then what they going to do? Then the argument will be, well, they didn't get him any weapons. Well, of course they fucking didn't. You gave him 200 and something.
They couldn't afford to pay anybody.
Guaranteed.
They couldn't pay anybody.
Yeah.
Right. And it's getting that way for everybody. And players don't realize they're fixing to paint themselves into a corner because no player I mean, you're going to have, and not only is it going to, like for Deshaun Watson, they can't put talent around him. Well, guess what? If more players demand that kind of money, that means teams are going to have less money all around the NFL, which means a lot of dudes ain't getting none of that money, and they'll probably wind up out of the NFL while a dude that'll take it cheaper is going to get the job. They don't realize they're painting their fucking selves into a corner here coming real soon.
Yeah.
It's gotten to be too fucking much.
Yeah.
Yep. Hey, okay, next.
Look, you want to go out there and be that gladiator we remember from Ronnie Lott's day? Yeah.
Well,
I'll give you a big contract. But to go out there and play two-hand fucking touch, I'm not. No,
we as old guys have discussed this. I mean, we've talked about, you know, my team, I know your team. We know each other. So we've talked about some of these players, like Emmitt Smith with a separated shoulder, still running, holding one-handed, getting hit in the shoulder and scoring touchdowns. Okay,
right.
Okay, we've watched players get their helmets knocked off and still go in and hit head first. We've watched players run with broken bones. We've watched, how many times have you seen a big old fat dude on the defensive line and his hand looks like a brick covered in white, like the whole, and they played
right,
and they didn't complain about it. And now you got people like, I got some turf toe.
It's a physical sport. It wasn't meant to be easy.
I got turf toe.
It wasn't meant to be easy.
Mm-hmm. Can't play with a friggin'.
I mean, look at go ahead, Shannon. I'm sorry.
I'm just saying they're talking about I can't play because I got a turf toe. You can't get out there and play with a messed up toe.
Exactly. He's talking about Emmitt Smith, and we got Michael Thomas that we gave $110 million, and he's played 8 games in the 3 years since because of a toe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, because of a fucking toe, dude. Cut that fucker off and move on.
Right.
Jesus. And like you said, and you got guys like Emmitt. I mean, and look at. All right, here's why another reason why today's player. Drew Brees blew his shoulder out in a game that didn't mean a fucking thing to help his team.
Yeah.
When he came to the Saints, we signed him not knowing if that motherfucker, goddamn number 9, was ever even going to be able to actually throw a football again, let alone lead us to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
What did Cam Newton do? In the fucking Super Bowl, he ran from his own fumble. Let me tell you something. People don't understand. Coaching and players only go so far. There is a certain amount of pure, raw, unadulterated luck that goes into getting to a Super Bowl.
Dude, listen.
I mean, oh my God, dude.
Do you remember the days of watching like Mean Joe Green in Green Bay playing in the snow? Do you know what it feels like when you're in the snow to bump into something? Do you know what it must feel like to get hit by Mean Joe Green? And he wanted to. He just wanted to put a lick on you.
Yeah, see, we had a guy by the name of Ricky Jackson, man, and that was during the Dome Patrol.
Yep, that's
Pat
right, Danny.
Vaughn Johnson, Sam Mills, Ricky Jackson, best linebacker tandem in the history of the sport. But Ricky was the dog. Pat he was the freak athlete. Sam Mills was a little dude. It was all about heart. Johnson was at his position very fast. Ricky was just a dog. And the Saints don't play in the snow often. And one of my favorite childhood memories, they played, I think it was New England, up in the snow.
Uh-huh.
We had just replaced Bobby Hebert with John Forcade, and the Saints had nothing to play for. They were out of the playoffs. It was one of those spoiler type issues. New England needed the win.
Oh wait!
I mean,
I gotta say this.
And I gotta say this
right now.
Ricky ate a quarterback, ran halfway down the field, and slid through the snow like 30 yards into the end zone and just started making snow angels. And that's like one of my most revered childhood memories. You talking about playing in the snow?
I gotta say this.
Ricky was a dog.
I gotta say this right now. We got Ari in the chat right now saying duct tape solves everything. And actually it does, but then so does gaffer's tape. And if you know, you know. But otherwise, I ain't explaining it. Let's just say it ain't flapping no more.
You're welcome for that piece of advice, Kenny. Gaffer's tape is the shit, dude.
Oh God!
I mean, it's on a different level from duct tape. It is like the Maserati of fucking duct tape.
Hey, Gorilla tape works just as well too.
Dude,
yeah, Gorilla tape's good shit too.
Dude, oh my God. Oh God! Don't get me started on Gorilla shit. All right, listen. We're gonna flip the script. Okay, so we all agree football got soft, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
okay. So listen, did music get soft?
Yeah.
I think so too. Even our angsty rock, and I'm a rocker, I think so too, because now everybody's, instead of, rock music's always been about this to the system.
Yep.
Now it's everybody's in a race to people that don't support the proper ideologies.
Well, and
to show how cool and they are.
Well, let's
I'm like, man,
let's admit this way. It's happened the same thing in country. You got a bunch of fake people in country pretending to be country that ain't country. I saw the thing with Upchurch where he talked about my apology, which wasn't an apology, and it was so perfect because when I listened to country as a kid, like I grew up on Hee Haw. Right, that's the TV show I watched. Right, so like,
Roy Clark,
Roy Clark, Buck Owens and the Buckaroos,
Fuck yeah.
All these guys, dude. In fact, a modern player who is a phenomenal guitar player and plays for a couple bands that we like. He's played for Marilyn Manson. He played for Rob Zombie. Now doing for Motley Crue. John 5 was actually watching Hee Haw all the time, and he saw a young banjo player on there, and this kid was like the best banjo player in the world, and he couldn't believe it. And he says, "But banjo players don't get no, you know what?" So he decided he was going to learn how to play guitar, and he did, and he does it phenomenally. So I still say that old music, that like you take any guitar player who's 30 years old right now, and their only experience in music is what they've listened to up to that point. Show them an old video of Roy Clark, and they will be like, "Get the fuck out of here."
Glenn Campbell. Heard me say,
"Yep,
right."
Glenn Campbell.
Heard me say on my channel a lot, dude. There's a lot of guitar players that get put in that elite guitar player list that really aren't. You look back, Buck Owens and fucking Roy Clark, both elite. I still have a Buck. Their style was some chicken picking country, but I bet you can't name among some of the best. And I'm talking the everybody from Malmsteen to Vi to fucking Nuno Betancourt. You'd be hard pressed to find somebody that could chicken pick like Roy Clark.
No.
And then Roy could turn around and play rock if he wanted to.
Right. And he could play banjo, and he could play mandolin, and he could play fiddle. Right. He could do all of that. I mean, it was just beautiful.
It's one thing to have a fast left hand. You can pick pretty quick. That can be worked up. It's your left hand usually that matters. If you've never seen it, look it up on YouTube sometime. Roy Clark doing Malagueña, which is it is on acoustic guitar. His strumming speed is stupid.
Dude, he's strumming so fast. Okay, there's videos.
Right, I can't even move my hand that fast.
Videos of Neil Peart and other drummers, but I know the Neil Peart one in particular, the video where he's drumming so fast that it looks like the stick is constantly moving, like there's tracers behind it. Right. That's what it looks like when Roy Clark is strumming in Magdalena. Oh my God, that thing is insane.
Right, man.
So
it's like I said, it's most of your speed comes in what you can do with your left hand, because picking styles can be gotten quick through practice. But I mean, to strum that fast, when you can strum as fast as you can pick, that's fucking sick.
Yep.
Dude, that's fucking sick,
dude. And now what about? So we know that a lot of rock music's softened. We know that the top 40 is always going to be soft because it's the top 40 stuff, right? There might be some good things. And they're like, I'm not going to sit here and say I disrespect the top 40, dude. When I was a kid, I loved Michael Jackson. Dude, I still love Michael Jackson, dude. Like
that's all we got here was a top 40 station. We didn't get any rock stations here.
All that. But the music that I liked was rap music and punk music ain't punk anymore. The punk scene died. It's over. There is nobody with that suicidal tendencies, attitude that
punk used to be the ultimate this. Now punk might as well just be an offshoot of fucking emo.
Yep.
I'm hurting.
Okay, so then let me ask you this: we all knew how whack emo was, right? How the hell did they come up with emo rap?
I don't know.
I have not heard
little groups like Falling in Reverse.
Yep. There's some good groups out there.
Dracula. their stuff is all over the place. I mean, it's like 5, 6
Right.
different genres in one song.
Right.
Yep.
You know,
That's one thing I like about Falling
Okay.
Reverse. When our channel got us turned on to that, I was like, why in the fuck have I not been listening to these guys?
Who was the
Right.
first
Already,
band? Who was
yeah.
the first band that you remember doing all those weird, like crossing a bunch of different genres?
Oh, I got a good one for this. Pink Floyd, man. Their album version of Money, when they get into that long kind of breakdown
Yep.
section, they go through several styles of music on that solo.
Yep.
Yep. And then they come back to what Pink Floyd does, and they close the song
how
down.
about
But
Queen?
I've heard
Who?
some
Who?
really good bands, man, that would surprise you.
Who?
What about
Uh,
Queen? What about Queen? They were kind of
Queen. Okay.
Look,
they varied.
Yeah,
you know.
they could have done any fucking thing they wanted to.
Yes.
They were a talented group of dudes. They could have done fucking bluegrass. They could have done whatever the fuck they wanted to.
Yeah.
I mean, and so could have Freddie. Freddie
Oh,
Freddie is one of those iconic voices, man.
yeah.
I mean, like him or hate him, you don't ever listen to Freddie Mercury sing and think you're listening to, anyone else. Iconic voice, but those music, what goes unsaid is as tremendous a musician as he was. The rest of the guys in that band were all, they could have done anything they wanted. That was top notch.
One of the first one that comes to my mind is Prince.
Yeah.
And it was because
yeah.
he had songs that were playing on 95.5 KLOS, the rock station. They were playing on the Mighty 690 AM, which was like a pop and rap station, and they were playing on Kiss FM, which was doing like the top 40 stuff. He was playing on all of them at once.
Yeah. But Prince is another iconic talent.
Prince is different, man.
Yeah.
Prince is he was born. He had a special DNA or something. Like he'll never be replicated. Nobody will ever be him again. There'll never be one like
songs that they know and love by other artists written by Prince.
Oh.
It's okay.
Yep. What's up?
We're losing you, Daniel.
Little audio issue there. We're catching up. Hold on for a second, Daniel. Let's see if it catches up to us. What about current artists that do all that?
Let's see.
I don't know.
I'm gonna have to, I don't know. Well, they are correct, but I once saw. I'll tell you a band that surprised me. Two, in fact. One, you're gonna laugh at me when I say this. Sugar Ray. I saw Sugar Ray, and all their little poppy radio that they're known for. That wasn't what they did. Balls. I was like, I'm not Sugar Ray, but I'm not Sugar Ray. Listen, dude.
Yep.
Man, swinging for the fucking place. I mean, screamo, almost death metal shit. I was
I see people say
their slow vampiric stuff. They came into the. I'm sorry.
I think there's two of us right now. All right, your turn, Shannon.
Oh God. What was the question again?
An current artist that can do everything.
That's a tough one. Well, I think Falling Reverse can do everything.
Okay.
They've shown that.
I agree.
I know they've been around for a long time, but they not too long ago came out with some new stuff. That was Tool.
I'm gonna say.
Yep.
I'm gonna say. Yellow Wolf. Different genres.
Church.
Can
Hey,
rock.
Church.
Church. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're
They're all saying Ren over here too. Church for sure. I mean, dude, Church has gotten Billboard charting songs in rock, rap, and country. I mean, what else do you need?
Yeah.
So
Let's don't forget Tom McDonald and Adam Calhoun. They can do all different stuff too.
what's up, Clue? How you doing tonight, man?
Some Danny is
Daniel, you're breaking up a little bit. We might need to do a shot for this just to be safe. You ready for a shot,
a
Shannon?
drink, and I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Just for that.
Well, let me get.
All right. Come back for your shot. Oh, you're using shot glasses? That means I have to reach around and get one. Listen, for all you that are in the chat right now and for all you watching, thank you for joining. This is the first one we're doing, you guys. This is the LDA Podcast. We're a bunch of loud, drunk assholes. We smoke, we drink, we talk sports, we talk music, we talk whatever we want to talk about. And so stick around, because after this, we're actually going to be doing a sort of a reaction review. A couple of us have seen this. Shannon and I have seen this, but Daniel hasn't yet. And we're going to be doing the Dax to be a man video. Wow, Heather. Listen. Oh, my goodness.
What'd she say? I'm sitting here.
With her in her recliner with her foot propped up.
Did we do that shot?
Wrapped in an ace bandage and an ice pack.
Oh,
All right.
no.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers. Oh. Y'all, I'm
Now, you guys.
sorry, my connection's been iffy. Y'all know
you
my
guys-
internet's close.
Yep. Daniel has not seen this video yet. He has not heard this song. Now, Shannon and I have both heard this song.
Yeah.
So it'll be Daniel's first time listening to this song, and then we're going to go ahead and talk about it as we
Oh, we're
go
doing a
through it.
reaction? To which one?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, here we
Dax
go.
to be a man.
Oh, okay,
Dax
cool.
to be a man. All right, so here we go. Let me get this thing over here, and here you go, guys. Make sure you can hear it.
I can't hide myself.
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't expect you to understand. I just hope I can explain what it's like to be a man. It's a lonely road, and they don't care about what you know. It's not about how you feel, but what you provide inside that home.
It's a
That's
field.
strong.
Yeah, it
That's
is.
strong. That's strong.
Did you see him sitting in his truck wiping them tears away because he can't let them see it when he goes inside?
Dude.
Yeah.
You ever done?
I'm one of
that,
those-
guys?
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
dude. I'm one of those
Guilty.
guys that puts a lot of providing on my back for my family, and I do so willingly and proudly. And there are certain days, man, you know, the weight's heavier than other days, and things don't look good. I've done that and had to straighten myself up and come in and smile like it's all okay. This is strong already, man. This is a feeling song. Damn it, Kenny.
It is.
All right, here we go, man. I knew this was gonna hit us. All three of us are fathers. All
Yeah.
three of us are husbands. And all three of us have our own understanding of what it's like to be a man. And that's why I figured this song would bring us together and let us talk about those things together. So here we go.
But what you provide inside that home.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's true, Danny.
I know this life can really beat you down. You wanna scream, but you won't make a sound. Got so much weight that you've been holding, but won't show any emotion. As a man that goes unspoken, now we can't cry when life gets hard. Unconditional love for women, children, and dogs. We know
Yes.
Yep. Women, children, and dogs.
You If you own a
Wherever
dog,
they-
you know a dog gives you unconditional love, right?
Right, man. That's one of your
Yeah.
kids. That might as well be one of your kids. And
Yeah.
Your
you're
kids
right,
will
man.
love you.
As a father and husband, let me tell you something, dude, man. I can tell this motherfucker really fit. This is, again, we've talked about this. A lot of songs get written today for an artist to perform for people and it becomes a hit or whatever. I miss the days when artists wrote about something they felt about. This dude's lived this. This is not lyrics to try to reach out to someone and
No,
he's lived it. This
is actual experience.
right.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
as fathers and husbands, we share in dude, this, I mean, for a man that believes it's his role to provide for his family, I mean, how real is this? How real is this?
Yep. Yep.
When life gets hard, unconditional loves for women, children, and dogs. We know that we just have to play our parts, and don't nobody give a damn about our broken hearts. Yeah, as a man, we gotta pave our way. Our only function is to work and slave. There's no respect for you if you ain't paid. You're disregarded as a human, and you can't complain. And if you
Boy, that shit hit me like a brick when I heard it the first time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you this, guys. It said that you're never respected, essentially, for your broken heart, for what you endure to provide. I feel that. Yet, how much of that is actually on us because we shoulder that and we don't show it to our loved ones. We don't want. I mean, I personally, I don't want them knowing that I'm struggling. I don't want them knowing that
Oh,
it's
yeah,
hurting me. I
exactly.
don't want them.
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying? How much of that's actually on us?
I don't know if this makes any sense, but I got more protective about it after I couldn't make money than when I was making money. When I was making money, if it was borderline, like we had something coming up and we really needed to take, we've all lived that way. None of us are filthy rich, you know.
Paycheck to paycheck.
So, you know, when you're struggling, you kind of have to admit that to your wife and stuff and you know, let her know. But when I became disabled and I went from making all of the money that I was making and living comfortably at the time in California, right, to disability. And the only thing that I can provide is I pay the rent on my house. That's how much my disability covers, is basically the rent on my house. And so I have to rely on my wife for everything else. And I honestly felt like when that happened that I wasn't respected as a man anymore and that I was discounted because all of a sudden she controlled the money and she wanted to control how much I spent, not how much she spent. And it just literally took away like all manliness from me when she did that. So when I heard that part of the song about if you don't make money, that you don't get any respect or love, and you don't even get to say anything about it at all, it's like, man, that hurt like hell because, you know, even though I'm disabled, can you blow kisses my way? I never get any kisses from you,
Oh,
bro.
shit.
Hey, my beautiful wife brought me a drink.
Speaking
Don't do that, Leather.
speaking of you guys, I'm sitting here tonight, and it's my beautiful wife's birthday, and we're doing our first ever podcast. So
Happy
Happy
birthday,
birthday.
Kate.
thank you to her for letting me do this, and you know, giving me the room to do this. I appreciate that, but uh, you have to understand, like, you guys know my situation. I stay at home because I'm disabled, but I take care of my son who's autistic, an 87-year-old uncle, and right now,
Shit, that's a
73-year-old
full-time job right
woman.
there.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so I'm doing all of that, but I still don't feel like I'm of any value because I'm not bringing in money. I don't know why we equate money bringing into value. We can still provide value into people's lives without money, but when it's your own
Right.
family, man, it's hard to see it that way.
Yeah.
It is. It is.
Exactly.
And it's because you feel, I mean, we feel like we should be the provider, but man, you still provide.
Yep.
I'm not one of those sexist guys. I go out and break my back every day and I do so willingly. And
Oh, thank you,
Jocelyn looks
Jenny. I'll
after the
let her
stuff
know.
around
Thank you,
here,
Ari. I'll let her know.
and my mama and everything. I mean, and Jocelyn, I hate to say it, runs the household. So so I don't have to.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
I go.
I don't know if that.
And I know what she does. She works just as hard every day as I do, and I appreciate that.
If this makes any sense to anybody out there,
I know you are.
I don't know if this will make any sense to anybody out there, but I view family as way more important than money.
Oh,
like
100%.
to me, loving for my family and taking care of my family and watching over my family, I used to value money over that. So when I had my music store, for instance, I was working on average 85 hours a week because I owned the store. So I was there all the time, plus after hours, right? And not spending time with my family. Meanwhile, I thought my family was happy because I was bringing home lots of money. Little did I know they were pissed because I was never there. Right. And so I valued money over the relationship. My mother was killed over a ridiculously low amount of money, right? And her life is worth way more than that. The relationship to her was worth more than the money. So I now value everything more than money. The money is there. You'll have it or you won't. And I've gone through times where I had more money than I knew what to do with, and times where I was homeless on the streets of Los Angeles.
Right.
Okay. But at the end of the day, without, the love of your family.
Right. And, because of how things were, I mean, some of y'all know me well enough to know about the stressed relationship with my father. And he was one of those kind of guys. Yep. In his mind, his role was to provide the money. An example, right now, I've had people ask me, because I know what I do is hard on my body and I'm getting older and I've already carried a certain amount of damage. And they're like, why don't you do this? And I'm like, well, I actually, as a musician right now, just playing a casino circuit can make more than twice as much I make where I work now, probably closer to 5 times more, but I would be gone. And I had already been on the road, done all that, and maybe it was just time for me to settle down, but I decided, and even now, I could get much better paying jobs than where I'm working, but it required me to be gone for weeks at a time. And I just decided it was more important for me to be in this house for these girls than bringing home some extra money and never seeing them. I made that choice early, and I don't regret it even a little bit.
Now, Shannon, you and I are similar in that we were able to work before and can't now.
Yeah.
And did that change how you felt you were viewed as a man?
Oh yeah, I mean, I was diagnosed with Parkinson's in '99, and then my wife ended up leaving me because of it. Which was really hard. And then there was a time when I was in my early to mid 40s, I had to go live with my oldest daughter for a while.
Now remind people don't know you, but so you'll be telling them for the first time. But remind us when you did your service.
89 to 92, I was in the Air Force.
Okay,
I was in during the Gulf War. Yeah, during the Gulf War, I was there for Iraqi Freedom and Desert Storm and all that.
Awesome.
I actually went over to Saudi Arabia for a while.
Thank you for that. And then, so that was just 7, and then just 7 years later, you get diagnosed with Parkinson's.
Right.
So you go from a full-on capable soldier to disabled, and now ultimately, not at the moment, but ultimately looking at a future of needing assistance.
Oh yeah. And I worked for 10 years after I was diagnosed. Still.
Did you have, like, I felt like it would have been better if my grandma was around for me to be able to talk to you about some of this stuff, because I didn't have any woman to talk about, to talk to this stuff about. Did you have anybody that you were able to talk to this about?
Well, I had some family members, to talk to, but not many.
Because the stuff he's describing in this song is like what we've gone through.
Oh yeah. Before I got my disability, like I said, I was living with my daughter. Till I got that, and that makes you, when you can't provide for anything. I couldn't give them a dime for nothing.
Yep.
That hurts.
And
that hurts.
Yeah, that's a lot to put on our
Yep.
shoulders.
Oh, dude, I remember going from taking my kids to Toys R Us to get them whatever they wanted to asking my daughter what she wanted for her birthday and then trying to go for what the best was I could afford. Like get her the most expensive one I could afford and then get her like 3 other little gifts,
Right.
Because I was trying to not let them know that I was struggling. I still
Right.
wanted them to get that really good gift and a couple other gifts. All right, let's get back to this and see where he goes with it. We know, but here you go, Daniel.
Our only function is to work and slave. There's no respect for you if you ain't paid. You're disregarded as a human and you can't complain. And if you ever make it up and actually reach that place and find a woman that you love and give her your last name, you'll feel the things that you provide is only why she stays. And when you try to explain, you'll say, I can't hide myself. I don't expect you to understand. I just hope I can explain what it's like to be a man. It's a lonely road, and they don't care about what
You ever done that? Came
Yes.
home, sat outside for a minute before you went in, smoke a cigarette,
Often.
Oh yeah.
sit in your garage by yourself because the house is empty and you don't want to
yeah.
go in yet.
You know, listen to that again right there. It's summed up, and I mean, we're not halfway through the song, so I'm sure it's going to get me some more. But what we've been talking about, and what just came to me, that struggle for a man, especially a man that, and you're right, family is more than anything, and family doesn't necessarily mean blood, but family, man. Let me tell you something. You'll do. And that's what kids don't understand when you get in that hole. Your kids want to be grown up, and you're like, be careful what you ask for, because when you get older, there's a different set of responsibilities. And as a provider, his fear, the best way I can sum it up, as a man, you constantly fear not being enough. No matter how much you
letting
do,
them down somehow.
Exactly.
right? No matter how much you can or cannot do, no matter how much you do, through the roof. That is a constant fear for us, is not being enough, because you want to be a good father. You want to work hard enough to provide. You want all these things. You want to be their emotional support too. You want to be all these things, and that's women say men don't understand their daily struggles. I 100% agree with that. Women don't understand some of ours, and our greatest fear, I think, is not being enough.
The provider.
My wife, my first wife, I was very young when I opened my music store. I was very young to be opening a music store myself. And I was committed to making money because she didn't want to have to rely on her dad for anything, including childcare for our twins. Right. So I'm trying to earn every penny that I can. And I'm busting my ass doing it. And then it was Christmas, and my kids had a great Christmas. They had every present they wanted. They had beautiful dresses. The food was amazing. We had everything set. Everything was great. It was the most beautiful Christmas for them, right? And they went and they took naps. And I told my wife, I'm going to run into the store for a few minutes just so I can get some paperwork done. And she's like, it's Christmas. And I said, I won't be long. They're taking a nap anyway. You can watch a movie if you want, or just chill. And I went in, and 3.5 hours later, there was a knock on the back door, and my twin daughters were standing there with their dresses on, asking me if I would come home for Christmas.
Wow.
Oh wow.
And I was like, no matter what I do, I'm not going to be right. I have to figure out how to balance this. I couldn't figure out that early in life. I didn't know how to balance it that early, but I knew that I was imbalanced at that point in time.
Yeah.
So
what it's like to be a man. It's a lonely road, and they don't care about what you know. It's not about how you feel, but what you provide inside that home. Don't give up, keep fighting. As a man, our sun is our horizon, and our father's actions play a role, and we end up like them. So they can't let us see them hurt, cause we'll embody what they do and start a generational curse. No wonder most men are so depressed, all the things that they can't express. They go to war, get thrown on the shelf, then go back to war with their mental health. Then grab that bottle and ask for help, try to pull themselves out of hell, then fall back down and then realize that they're gonna have to do it themselves. It's the
Wow.
Right? Right?
They go to war and then come back and have to go to war with their mental health.
Yeah.
This is what happens to men. We go do stuff, Shannon enlisted. I wasn't able to enlist. My nephew's enlisted. He's been deployed a bunch of times. You guys go out and do the stuff that you do, and you don't talk about it, right? And so we don't know what's going on, or what kind of trauma you've had, or what kind of scars you've had from the things that you've seen, and you're stuck trying to cope with all that on your own, because we can't help, because it's something you can't talk about.
Yeah.
It's like just a brutal cycle. It's why I think it's important for men to keep in contact with other men, and for men to be able to hold each other accountable and talk to each other to make sure that everything's cool. Because the rest of the time we're acting like it's all cool.
Yep.
Even when it's not.
Exactly. It's not that. I mean, don't get me wrong. Servicemen definitely get a different set of challenges, but I think that can apply almost to all men too, because I mean, I never served, and there was a reason that I couldn't. I probably would have, but we as men, we put a lot on ourselves. Those that don't, I mean, just period, and that we put ourselves on an island, because our emotional struggles and everything, that's nobody else's problem. We're there to solve problems for everyone else. I mean, and like I said, military guys that serve and then have to come home after what they've seen, that is definitely a particular set of challenges. But I think all men face a little bit of that, because you put yourself on that island, because you don't want to be, when you come home and you see that the rest of your family, especially during a time of struggle, the rest of your family is struggling with things, your idea is that you must be that rock. You don't want them to see that you're struggling. You don't want them to know that your heart hurt that day, that you sat out there in that truck for a few extra minutes with tears in your eyes because you were worried. You don't want them to see that. You feel like you have to be that rock. So, you put that pressure on yourself, and like I said, with military especially, because not only what they see things that people shouldn't have to see. I appreciate all servicemen's service, because they have to deal with people. Oh God, so many people that just don't understand what they see on a daily basis, and then have to home and act like that doesn't affect them to a family that's relying on them.
And not only act like it doesn't affect them, but take themselves out of the mindset of we're at war, because they just come back from war.
Right.
And, I hate it around 4th of July around here for two reasons. One, I know there's veterans that live on my block, and two, I know there's a lot of pets. And when the big fireworks go off, it's very difficult for them. I understand their PTSD. I understand why they have it, and so I want to respect that. I'm sorry to get so off subject, guys. Let's get back to the song.
Right.
Fall back down and then realize that they're gonna have to do it themselves. It's the circle of life. As a man, you provide. They don't know what you're worth till the day that you die, and that's when they start crying. Then move on to a man to confide in. That's why we feel we can't hide ourselves.
Bro,
this guy's making the new fan out of me, but he's going to be one of those guys that you've heard me mention about other guys. It's going to be hard for me to do reactions for him because he's
dude, it's
man.
a
He's
circle of life. They don't know what we're worth until we die, right? And then they'll move on to another man to confide in, right? As men, like, that is kind of our reality, right?
Right.
Like, if you even if you're the perfect man, right? Go out and have this great job, everything's great, blah 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 blah, providing kids go to great schools, da 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 da. At the end of the day, that dude, no matter what his family thinks, has held so much in to provide them that easy, carefree lifestyle. My grandparents taught me what it was like from the very beginning because they shared when things were rough. Like, I grew up in a family where it was Social Security, so you got paid on the third. If you blew your shoes out and you're walking, the soles of your feet are walking on concrete, my grandmother put 2 pieces of duct tape in it, and you walk back to school, right?
It
Because
was one pair of shoes a year, period.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
And you made them bitches last, however you had to.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh man, this song, dude, is bringing up so many memories.
Crying, then move on to
our job for the white boy here is men broken hearts.
That's why we feel we can't hide ourselves. We don't expect you to understand. We just hope we can explain what it's like to be your man. It's a lonely road, and you don't care about what we know. It's not about how we feel, but what we provide inside that home. Inside that home. It's not about how we feel, but what we provide inside that home. Inside that home.
I have to tell you that after I heard this song, I actually bought it on iTunes.
I'm gonna have to get that. And something just, this is kind of my fucking soapbox tonight, I guess. Look,
go for it. Oh, by the way,
we feel as men,
when we get done out of here, we're going to be hanging out in the Discord over at the Swolemate server.
For sure.
So if we can get a link to the Swolemate server for anybody that's watching or watches this follow-up to join us, that'd be great.
Ari, somebody hit us in the comments. I don't even know how to do that here.
Gavin, anybody, put the link in there.
But for real, we live in a day and age where the very thing that makes us feel like we have to be that right, these very struggles that men go through are a byproduct of that horrible masculinity word. Let me tell you something. What's the alternative? I'm just saying, man, the ideology that masculinity is toxic. Yeah, they're assholes, but the driving force behind what makes us feel like that we have to is masculinity. And I'm telling you, I'm one of those provider types. I put a lot on me to provide, but it's part of the masculinity part. That's one of those driving factors. To me, there's no such thing as toxic masculinity. Is there an asshole or here and yon? Yes, there is. But
the other thing I want to,
the very idea that makes us the men that we are and want to be that rock and be that stability and be that everything for the people we love, that very thing that makes us that way is under attack. And I'm like, okay, well, if you want a bunch of fucking limp-wristed asshats trying to rely on, then.
And the other thing is I think that it helps as people, not as women or as men, but as people, because it applies to everybody. if we can acknowledge that sometimes people have some stuff going on that we might not be able to understand because we didn't live through it, but if we
Right.
care about them, like in relationships, we give them the grace and we try to understand it the best that we can. It's time that men stop avoiding breaking down because they feel like their family can't take it. It's time to say, if I really need to, I'm going to talk about it now.
Right.
In the old days, it was, I've told you guys a story. I smashed my thumb in a metal gate, right? As I was walking through the backyard, I was crying. I was 5 years old. My grandfather walked up to me and says, "What's wrong?" I said, "I smashed my finger in a gate." And he goes, I told him I was going to grandma. And he says, "Let me see your thumb." And I looked at it, I held it up like that, and he stomped on my foot, and he said, "Now your thumb don't hurt so bad." And I walked out like, "Grandma,
Yeah.
I hate him. Fuck that guy."
There's a
So
joke
like
like that in the movie that I love.
I'm saying, you don't have to be such a man that you can't share your feelings
Right.
about shit.
Right. And I didn't learn that lesson until I married this wonderful woman, most of y'all know. And let me tell you something. I everything about my essence tries to be that rock for her. Everything. But there are days when I can come in here. I don't have to say a word. I can just lay my head on her shoulder, wrap my arms around her, and I can have a minute.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And if it wasn't for that, I'd be, like I said, I'd be that motherfucker sniping bitches off of towers and shit. You're absolutely right. It was a breakthrough for me. And that's why I'm not the dude I'm not that asshole I used to be. A lot of it is because I do share and I try to. And I've never met anybody before her that would have made me want to. I'd have just kept on pushing in silence. If I didn't have the kind of woman I had, I'm blessed. Yep. I can do that. And you are absolutely right. I know some bitches out there right now that I tell them, all you need to do, dude, because you got a good woman at home, go home. You ain't even got to say nothing. Just hug that woman's neck and put your head on her shoulder and let go.
Yep.
Let go for a minute. Let go for a minute.
Done it many times.
Yep. Well, speaking of letting go, you guys, we went a little longer than we anticipated tonight, but I'm glad we did.
Oops.
Y'all, if you're in the chat right now, you see there's a link. We're going to jump over to the Discord here in a minute, and y'all can let us know what you thought of the first LDA podcast. And thank you guys both for being here. We had someone who was supposed to be on, but weather permitting, they'll be on next week. We'll see how it goes. And all y'all be safe out there with that weather, because it's crazy shit out there right now.
And I want to say something to everybody too, guys. This was pretty much our test run. So this is going to get better. We're probably going to get louder. We're probably going to get drunker, and we're probably going to get asshole.
Yeah.
But
definitely.
This is our test run. We haven't even
time.
tested this yet, so this was our test run. So
all right, y'all.
It's gonna get dumber.
Thank you both. All right,
you.
everybody. We'll
Thank
see you soon.
for having us,
Be
Kenny.
safe, y'all.